because this is we're making memories here. Okay, so we're gonna start out. I'm gonna with some announcements, and then we'll get to the fun part. So let me go ahead and share my screen down here. And okay, can everyone see my screen? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, super. So this is Geography Live, featuring alumni professionals in urban planning, environmental geography research, and environmental justice. I'm David Salisbury. I'm the chair of the Department of Geography and the Environment. I also teach in global studies and environmental studies. And we have some other illustrious members of the department here. Dr. Mary Finley Brooke is here. Mary, you want to wave? And Dr. Stephanie Spera, Dr. Todd Lookingbill, Nancy Probst, Guoping Huang is here. Yes, and is Beth here? Super. Okay. And so this is our schedule for today. We're going to have some announcements in the next 5-7 minutes, and then we're going to have a presentation by one of our capstone students, Julia Funk. We'll have a research presentation by one of our students, Riley Place, who's working on the NASA Servier project. Then we're going to break out into 3 rooms. We're going to divide you folks randomly into 3 rooms, and you'll start off either following the geospatial research group, the environmental justice group, or the urban planning group. And we have illustrious alums who are going to give you exciting talks for about 10 minutes, and then we'll have 10 minutes of questions and answers. And then time permitting, we might even throw you into another room where you'll be able to hear another talk. And then we'll come back to the main room and just say goodbye and thanks to everyone. You'll notice a theme in our slides, which will be revealed at the end. So our alumni presenters are an exciting and talented bunch. Carol Courtney is Associate Attorney at the Southern Environmental Law Center. Kedest Gebre is at the Communications and Education Coordinator of Interfaith Power and Light. Taylor Holden is Multimodal Planner at Virginia Department of Transportation. Olivia Mabayed is starting her first day after moving from VDOT here in Richmond as Transit Planner at MBTA in Boston. And Andrew Parasak is a research analyst at Duke University Initiative for Science and Society. And Connor Phelan is research associate at the University of Nevada, Reno. So we've got a lot of talent in the room for our alums, and of course, a lot of talent among our students as well. And we're going to be able to learn quite a bit from these folks. And so we'll get to that in the second half. First, I want to turn over, give a minute to the Geography Club. If Darian, I thought you might share something about what the Geography Club's up to.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Darian Wyatt. I am president of UR's Geography Club. And just want to give, quick information on that. We have some people who are still at UR who'd like to join. We are a club that meets every 2 weeks, Monday nights at 8:30 via Zoom, of course. And currently we're working on planning a big event for the end of the semester, which will also be held via Zoom, our Geography Trivia Night, which has been a big success when we've had it in the past. And this is our first time holding it via Zoom, but we are really excited to hold it because it's been a super successful event and it's always so much fun. And we are looking for people to join our club and to help us with planning, as we're currently planning the Geo Trivia Night right now. And that's the biggest thing that's taking up a lot of our time. So if you are interested and would like to join, it's completely open to everyone. No prior geography or environmental knowledge is required, though most of us are geographers and environmentalists. It's completely open to everyone. So if you would like to join 100%, you can send me an email or one of the professors here and it will be forwarded to me. But we'd love to have you, anyone who's seen this.
Thank you, Darian. Love your leadership and enthusiasm.
Of course.
Great. Okay. Let's move on to another group of students, the Gamma Theta Upsilon. And I'll turn it over to the president Annabella.
Hi all, I'm Annabella. I'm the president of GTU here at University of Richmond. So I thought it'd take some time to give some information about the organization. We do recruit students every semester based on GPAs and number of classes taken on at Richmond. So we will be doing that this spring as well. We are planning the induction ceremony right now, which is looking really exciting. It'll be over Zoom, and we already have 22 new potential members for the organization, which I think is the most we've had ever. So that's pretty exciting. And the virtual induction party is looking like it might be March 23rd. It's a Tuesday at 8 p.m. And again, cool things in the making at the moment. As a member, you also have the opportunity to apply for scholarships. And I highly encourage you to check GTU at the website and also check out the Geography Club, who does really cool stuff as well. And feel free to email me for any questions, and I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you, Annabella. Very, very much appreciate your leadership as well. It's absolutely fantastic to have so many wonderful students to work with. And the Geography Club and GTU are part and parcel of what we do here in the department. So excited about what you guys are going to do later on this semester. And those of you who are new potential members, you'll be hearing from us by email in the next couple weeks. So that's exciting. We also want to share, not everyone may have heard that we had a fall GIS map competition. The awards were given. First place was to Anna Cheng for her story map on leaf peeping across the state. Second place was Mark Gorman for his map of U.S. drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, marine habitat. And honors went to Elizabeth Hallis for her dynamic mapping of hurricanes in the Atlantic Basin. And we want to stay tuned for the Geo Design competition, which is going to be led by Guoping Huang, our spatial analysis lab director. And so it'll be great to hear from him and in the latter half of this semester to work on that Geo Design competition. I also want to let you guys know that we are going to have our end of the year event on Earth Day, as we always do, April 22nd, 2021, where we'll have an end of year celebration that includes geography, environmental studies, and sustainability. So that should be a really fun event that we always enjoy. We also want to let you know that there are 2 summer classes that Dr. Mary Finley Brooke is going to be running: Geography 220, Ecotourism, and Geography 280, Energy and Climate Justice, which is a new course that she's teaching for the first time this semester. Those of you who know her know that this is what she does. So it's going to be an absolute fantastic summer course. For our fall 2021 classes, we have an exciting slate. We've got Introduction to Sustainability, which is a new course that we've added to the major that is shared with environmental studies. That's why we've marked it here in orange. We also have changed the names for 2 courses, and this is why we've been using the Earth theme throughout these slides. Geographic Dimensions of Global Development is now called Planet Earth, People and Place. And Earth Systems and Physical Geography is now called Planet Earth, Wind, Water, Fire. So don't be dismayed by the change in the name. It's still high quality content. And we just wanted to really make that connection with geography, earth writing, with the planet. So we're excited about those. So tell your fellow students about those. We're also going to have 2 sections of foundations. We'll have Dr. Sparrow's Weather and Society course. Looks like we'll have Dr. Scrivani teaching a geovisualization course. And Dr. Finley Brooke will be teaching Power, Space, and Territory, Geographies of Political Change. And then Dr. Sparrow will be teaching Environmental Remote Sensing, which is going to be a great course as well. So excited about this slate of courses for all you. Also, heads up, summer internships. The UR Summer Research Fellowship is due February 23rd. And the internships are due April 9th at 5 p.m. And then the Center for Civic Engagement Civic Fellowship Program has a deadline of April 9 at 5 p.m. We always have a lot of students doing that work. Some of them mentored by by us, the geographers. And so we just want to keep that on your radar, as I know we have some students applying for these things. So I already mentioned our alums, and I think we're going to go right to our first talk. So I'm going to stop the share here, and I'm going to encourage Julia to share her screen.
All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna get right into this. So my senior capstone project was focused on uniformity and placemaking, basically on how the University of Richmond campus sense of place is felt by different students. Okay, I was gonna get into this. I'll get it together, don't worry. So this study seeks to examine how the University of Richmond's focus on a traditional uniform image within its placemaking affects its students' abilities to express and explore queer identities within these spaces. So I just want to also say right now that I'm going to be using the term queer as an umbrella term for LGBTQ+ identifying individuals. And I conducted my research through surveying 44 different LGBTQ+ identifying students at campus. Some alums, some who currently go there. So first, I want to talk a little bit about the University of Richmond campus as a place, as it's the study site. So the architecture is a collegiate Gothic style, and the campus has been built this way since the early 1900s. I actually found a quote from the original architect that said that his mission in creating UR landscape was to go back to the perfect style that was developed by our own kin in the old home overseas, the last and most final type of the great Christian style of architecture. So this quote was alarming to me when I found it, obviously. And it really shows this desire to create a school for straight white Christian men by straight white Christian men during this time period. The problem is, though, that this architecture style has been carried on throughout. And every single building on the university campus pretty much has been built to make it look unrecognizable. So you won't know if it was built in, 1920 or 2020. So another way that this kind of is reinforced is through the way that you are landscapes. So I'm sure we've all seen the nice rolling green lawns plenty of times. And this kind of hyper management of the green spaces on campus kind of reinforces this ideal of perfection and beauty within campus in a highly regulated and stylized way. As you see, flowers get changed out all the time. It's very controlled. So this kind of combined with the architecture and the style of the school is a placemaking practice, 120 years in the making, that places a value on uniformity and being within those Western white ideals and Christian values. So this kind of combined with a school system that's divided by gender, both academically and until 2002 physically, kind of creates expectations for how students should look and act, kind of impacting their comfort on campus and their sense of place. So from this, I kind of wanted to see how queer students specifically reacted to these elements. So now I'm going to discuss some of the highlights from my survey. Just kind of give you some data and background, and then we'll talk about kind of what it all means a little bit. So to start off, 86% of participants said they felt pressure to act differently or inconsistently from how they'd like to represent themselves at UR in at least some places on campus or all. Following this up, 84% said they feel pressure to be or act straight or heterosexual on all or some places on campus. Then afterwards, I asked if students felt comfortable exploring their identity or their queerness at UR, with only 27% saying yes, and the vast majority saying they'd feel more comfortable doing this somewhere else. And when I asked if students felt there was queer representation on campus, only 1 out of 44 students said unequivocally yes, there is representation, with majority saying no or not much. And also 76% of students said that they wanted to transfer or really strongly considered transferring at some point during their time here. Following this, I wanted to kind of get into sense of place. And just as a primer for anyone who isn't aware, sense of place is kind of how you feel within a location, kind of based off of different factors, such as, it could be your class, your race, your sexuality. It can also just be other elements such as like your past experiences or how you react to the other physical things within that space. So first, I asked students an open-ended question to describe their sense of place at the UR campus. And I only had 32 responses for this because it wasn't, multiple choice. But the majority of students had negative associations and feelings when we're explaining their sense of place that was 22 students, while only 10 had positive associations. The top feeling is out of place. As you can see from this word cloud that I created through some of the different words and phrases that students used. Happy was also up there with 6 votes. So, that's good too. But you see things like isolated, surveilled, stifled, stressed. So overall, a more negative view of sense of place. I then asked about what places students were most comfortable and uncomfortable in. Most comfortable spaces were usually housing spaces, such as apartments or dorms, or places where a club or activity meets. And the most uncomfortable spaces, the number one by far was the business school. 25 out of the 32 students who responded to that said the business school was the most uncomfortable place they went in everywhere on campus. And 11 students also said that different Greek life affiliated locations they felt very uncomfortable in. So my last section of the survey asked about the physical space on campus, specifically the buildings and the architecture. So out of the campus appearance, almost all of the students said that they really like how campus looks, which makes sense. Our campus is really touted for being beautiful. Students said it felt like Hogwarts, this kind of magical place. But as I kind of asked more questions, that kind of faded a little bit. So a majority of students said that they liked the way the campus looks, but they wish that there was a lot more variety in the buildings. And when asked about how UR promotes campus beauty, 27 students out of the 44 said that they wish UR focused on elements other than physical beauty. And this question is kind of in reference to the campus actively promoting that we are the #1 most beautiful campus as rated by the Princeton Review. So generally students wanted UR to focus on other things. And also 25 students said that they did not feel like they belonged, not academically, but like socially on campus, with 17 saying they did feel that. And finally, when asked if they felt there was a place for queer students, only 7 said yes of the 44, the majority saying that they didn't feel there was a space. So to kind of talk about some of this stuff. First of all, locations that kind of promote wealth, gender roles, exclusion, and image seem to be not so comfortable for queer students. So spaces like this obviously include Greek life organizations. There's a lot more I could talk about Greek life and kind of the traditions and all that and how that enforces social aspect, but I want to focus kind of more on the physical space right now. But again, these are kind of locations that are associated and meant to accommodate people of the upper class, of whiteness, of straightness, and kind of all of that that we see as the norm. So when students go into these spaces who are outside the norm, they often feel excluded. Another thing I want to talk about is there seems to be a disconnect between students, between their physical landscape and their sense of place. And I think that part of this is attributed to students not seeing the connection between their physical location and kind of how they're feeling and how they'll interact with each other. Yes, which is why I kind of wonder, if we took our exact student body and placed it on a campus such as VCU's, would we act the same? Typically, different research suggests that, given the strong impact of a location on a population, we probably wouldn't. But again, I think what's most visible to students, it seems from the survey, is the social aspect. And then just quick, something I want to talk about is this survey was only reached by students who are out already, and most of whom identified as LGBTQ+ before coming to college. So that obviously creates a bias towards students who feel more comfortable to talk about this kind of stuff. There's definitely lots of students on campus who aren't out or don't want to talk about their sexuality or their experience. So this survey does miss some of their experiences. And then just finally, after this, it seemed like there really is kind of a need for students to have a new queer life building, a space that is for them where they can connect with each other and feel represented on campus, a space that doesn't look like every other building on campus. And again, just kind of provides that sense of community and visibility that clearly is lacking right now. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you to Dr. Luckenbill, Dr. Snaza, Dr. McWhorter, Lee Dreyer, and Jade Clark from the LGBTQ+ Center, and everyone who took this survey and made it possible. And thank you all so much for listening.
All right, thank you, Julia. As a department, we certainly value difference, and we love this expression of exploring difference and using geography as a way to think about the importance of sense of place with our well-being. So really appreciate your work, Julia. So let's go ahead and turn to Riley for our second student presentation. Riley, are you able to share your screen?
I am, yes.
Fantastic.
Here we go. Okay, so I'm here to talk about a project that I've been fortunate enough to work on since last August, called Forest Disturbances and Ecosystem Services in the Southwestern Amazon. And it combines, you know, NASA funded project with map making and geography and sense of place with real world issues such as deforestation and negatively impacted biodiversity, indigenous communities, and deforestation. So this is a SERVIR project, which is a joint venture between NASA and the US Agency for International Development in Washington. And so this grant provides state-of-the-art satellite-based Earth monitoring, imaging, and mapping data, geospatial information, predictive models, and science applications to help improve environmental decision-making among developing nations in Amazonia, Africa, the Himalayas, and the Mekong River Basin in Asia. So it's kind of a mouthful, but some really exciting work. We're one of 4 teams working on the Amazon, the other 3 being the University of Maryland, the Jet Propulsion Lab in California, and Brigham Young University in Utah. So that's SERVIR. So Dr. Stephanie Spera is the principal investigator for this project, and she's affiliated with UR. So is Dr. Salisbury. And Yunwen Uregalas, she goes to Texas State University, PhD candidate, has also been doing a lot of work for this project. So we have a large team. There's about 20 of us working on the project, students from all different grades and backgrounds, and we work very well together. It's a fun time. Oops, sorry, I went too
Lost
fast.
your screen, Riley.
You lost my whole screen?
Yeah. Can you see his screen? No, I can't
Yeah.
see his
We'll
screen.
see it. We
Oh,
also
you
can
can.
see it.
Okay, my bad. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. And since we're a large team, we're not all working on the same stuff. Some of us are doing GIS program, making maps and doing analyses. Some are doing sort of background research, looking through like the local media sources we can get, you know, which include Facebook and chat rooms online to get the local perspectives on the issues we're covering. We have one team member who's actually working directly with one of the NGOs down there. And we have several other team members who are doing remote sensing to get a lot of good imagery of the area. So we do a lot. We do a lot of our work through the SAL, which is Spatial Analysis Laboratory. It's a great resource for anyone interested in geography. Here's a bunch of happy, non-mask wearing people from the past. And Beth Zamia is the GIS operations manager. She's a really great asset if you want to learn about GIS. You might meet her if you get involved in this kind of work. So I recommend, if you're interested in geography, to check out the SAL. So this is the map that Dr. Salisbury and I were able to put together of the Urua Road. So to sort of put this in picture, we're analyzing this road that is in sort of a weird legal limbo. It was first created by some people as sort of a road to get out to some petroleum sites, and it was just sort of a rough trail then, but now it's sort of turning into a highway. And this has been done with very little planning, and we don't really know the effects that this is going to have on as you can see, there are tons of, oops, sorry about that. The many different indigenous communities it crosses through, the forestry concessions, and the conservation areas around this area. So to sort of depict this, so people understand what is around where this road is, we created this map. And it's translated into Spanish, distributed in Peru. And we even got it translated into Portuguese for a lot of the native groups on the other side of the border who speak Portuguese. So, I mean, with these 3 languages, sometimes it's, you know, it's there's also that whole dimension of understanding language and culture when we're doing this research, and it's been useful to be able to use Spanish and Portuguese to communicate our findings. So with the remote sensing, you can see what the road looks like. This is just a section. It goes right through thick forest. I mean, it looks like sort of a green carpet, but if you go down there, there's hundreds of different species of trees in a single hectare. It's a very biodiverse area, but our recent analysis shows that closer to the cities in the west, it's being deforested very rapidly. And it is not a good sign for a lot of the species that live out here. And there has not been a lot of scientific inquiry into the biodiversity of this area, so we really don't know for sure what we're losing. But this is sort of a typical expanse. You see a cut in the forest, maybe for an airstrip or for a farm, and we've got communities that live near rivers, but outside of the rivers, it's really just timber farms and things like that. So what we do is we make maps to sort of depict what is going on, like what the road is going through, to sort of help visualize it and help the people on the ground visualize it. But we also use the map, the GIS data, in computer programs to perform analyses. So here's our first analysis we did. We wanted to see how many hydro sheds this road would impact. And so putting a 20-kilometer buffer on the road, we were able to see how many, using scientific research that said that a road could have negative effects on water out, 20 kilometers out from where it was built. We're able to measure exactly how many water sources are in danger. And we intend to do this with a lot of other factors as well, such as potential deforestation, how many indigenous communities this is going to disrupt, how many conservation sites and government sites this is going to go through, and we might even do a biodiversity index. The end result will be a very comprehensive analysis of the road done all through computers, which is pretty exciting nowadays, and very useful in COVID time to be able to do this kind of research so far away. And here's another map. There's a second road we're also working on, and this one's like a completely different situation. The government for development's sake, wants to connect the cities of Pucallpa in Peru with the Monte Lima Cruzeiro do Sul in Brazil. However, their plan to build this road doesn't connect. So we've been depicting possible routes they might take, and we're doing the same sort of analysis. What kind of native groups are going to be impacted? Which kinds of conservation sites, hydro sheds are going to be impacted by the different options they have? So that way we make sure the effects, the negative effects, are communicated to the builders before they build it. And this is where the document research comes in. There's other examples of trans-Amazonic roads, like one is called the Interoceanic Highway that goes through Brazil to Peru. Along the road, there's a lot of gold mining, and there's a lot of international trade, a lot of soybean and cattle production. That's a lot of the rainforest is being cut down. Those things are being shipped towards Peru for marketing westwards. And there's been even some questions as to whether the traffic on that trans-Amazonic road, the benefits of that actually overdo the costs of building it. And even with that turmoil and with those questions, they're still building more roads. So it's sort of important that we get all the costs and make it clear to everyone on the ground that building a road is not necessarily, all just going to increase trade and make everyone wealthier. So that's the importance of the document research team. Here's another. This is the map created by Anna and Elspeth, two of our excellent researchers. It's just a draft of their map showing potential routes that the road might take, because as of right now, the planners don't have it connecting. Another 4 of our team members are doing remote sensing. They're taking quadrants, they have quadrants, and they're doing further squares and looking in there and trying to find different things that are going on. And this might include sort of deforestation roads that are growing out like a sort of spider web or a fishbone pattern. This is going rapidly. I mean, I've seen some of these. You can see month to month they'll grow like 10 kilometers a month. And in the past year, they've been taking advantage of low enforcement. So the research is more relevant now than ever. And then they mark them. They mark the different types of, infrastructure they find being constructed in what is one of the last frontiers on Earth, the Western Peruvian Amazon. And so team member Eli sent his work, then he zooms in, see this is what the road, he sort of marked where the deforestation road goes. It starts with one road, then they keep branching off the foresters to get to more logging sites. And here's it at a very close scale. We have very access to very good resolution data.
All right, Riley, you're starting to run out of time. You might need to
Okay.
wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last few slides, but there's also a segment of our team that are doing COVID research, and that's really important as well. I mean, here's some of the data. They found out which tribes are suffering the most from COVID-19 in order to help with attention. And a lot of students with this research have had the opportunity to get their boots on the ground in this area and actually see in real life the areas that they've been working with remotely. So thank you, and keep an eye out for the big things coming soon from the Servier project.
All right, thank you, Riley. Okay, so let me come over here. So what I want to do now is we're going to go ahead and let the participants choose the room. Okay, so I'm going to create 3 breakout rooms.